Syncing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the branded Despia breakdown deck profile, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to be trying to go like as medium depth as possible, just kind of explaining cards, what they do, and why we're playing them, kind of like my personal thought process. I will be doing this deck profile with the preconception that you have kind of played the deck before and you do sort of understand how it functions and what its goal is. This is a really, really good mid-range deck, and the way that it plays is just sort of like unique to other decks and really, really fun. It's currently my favorite deck and probably will be my favorite deck for a while. So without any further, we're going to go ahead and get into a card by card. Starting off with the main, we're going to start off with 3 Aliber and 3 Almas. This is like very standard nowadays. People were playing 2 Albaz at once. I do side out the Albaz for certain matchups, but it doesn't come out all the time. So these cards are really, really great at 3. You obviously want to be seeing the Aliber as much as you want to. Stratos is a great monster negate. Usually we're just using its Stratos effect, though. And the Fallen of Albaz is just really awesome going second, and it's even better in the grind game. So I really do just liking having the 3 of both. Moving on, I've got 2 Tragedy. I'm really liking 2 Tragedy. 2 Tragedy to me feels like the perfect ratio. I don't really feel like I'm needing any more than 2. 3 just feels like too much to me. I bricked with 3 when I played it at 3, so 2 is just fine. Don't forget that this does reset spell cards, so if you are grinding, do not forget about that effect. Remember to check your graveyard. Also, the card that I always forget to check my graveyard of is the Albion. Albion is sending cards and returning itself. It's a really amazing grind game tool. It's an extra Fallen of Albaz name. It's really just kind of like everything you need in the deck. It's pretty much like a Magician of Faith almost in the deck. So really, really amazing card. Really like it. We've got then the Spriggan's Kit. Spriggan's Kit is like kind of nuts in the deck. It's sort of like a 4th Aliber, but it does a little bit less. You have to place a card from your hand on top of the deck, so you do need a little bit of an advantage when you're playing Spriggan's Kit. Some people say that this is a win more card. I really like it at 1 as an extender. It doesn't always come up, but when it does, I'm like so happy I'm playing it. I'm like, oh my gosh, never gonna cut this card. Same card, Tri-Brigade Merc Warrior, never gonna cut it. This card's just nuts at 1. Being able to add it off of a send from the extra deck, or just like the Branded Lost, and like many, many other avenues to get into this are really, really amazing. Again, then the ad-libdom and the dramaturge, very, very standard again. Some people are playing comedy in place of the dramaturge. I feel like comedy is really, really bad. Drama has been so good. I'm going to ad-libdom more often, but like drama, I am playing just against the decks that it's really good against. You know, it is really good against a lot of decks, so playing it. Moving on, some more monsters. These are like our branded fusion targets, really. Fairy Tale Snow and Edo, the Supreme Magical Force. New cards, well, not new cards, but they're new cards that like we are playing more frequently in the deck. Fairy Tale Snow is really just being thrown into branded decks because people are like, all right, 1 extra card doesn't do anything. And then the Edo is just like a really, it's great to draw. It's great to have it in your deck. You discard it and you're going to be adding a trap card called Branded Expulsion and special summoning it to your opponent's field, and then they cannot summon monsters. It literally reads, you cannot summon monsters. It reads, you cannot summon monsters. It's a lot to take in that this is possible in the deck. And the trap card that we play to enable it isn't bad without it, so. Moving on, I've got the Patchwork Engine. Much like the Tragedy, I'm only playing 2 Chain. I feel like 2 Chain is perfect. I've not really needed more than it. Honestly, like, I've considered cutting the Patchwork down to maybe 2. It just kind of bricks sometimes at 3, but, you know, I'm not super, super afraid of those types of hands, especially since we're playing a 46 card deck. So this is our Patchwork Engine. It's super, super generic. It's exactly what everybody's playing in Branded, so I'm not going to go any more into it. Over on some 1-for-1s, we've got Branded Lost, Called by Grave, Gold Sarcophagus, and Foolish Burial. All of these cards are sort of our like hand trap installation cards, and you can also sort of bring in Cosmic Cyclone and Branded in red for those like hand trap insulation cards. Gold Sark and Foolish Burial much less don't force your opponent to interrupt you, but it gives them the choice of like, okay, you're either going to interrupt me now, or I'm going to extend way further than you're going to beat me. And so, more often than not, if they do have some sort of stop for these cards, they are going to be popping it off. Branded, Lost, and Called by the Grave are your more, like, concrete, if I have these cards, they're more likely than not getting the hand traps off. And then, like, Cosmic Cyclone and Branded in red, especially, like, in the grind game, Branded in red is nuts for this. You're able to chain these cards to your vulnerable cards, and then they can't chain to the vulnerable cards. The deck's weakest, like the best hand trap against this deck is DD Crow, and people are going to be playing it a lot more. So be wary of the DD Crow. If they do have it, just kind of like scoff and that they had the DD Crow, mate. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Moving. I'm on one Harpy's Feather Duster. One Duster. Really solid in this deck, actually. Cosmic Cyclone is more of a hand trap insulator for this deck rather than a back row removal, but it is useful for the back row removal, of course. So Harpy's Feather Duster is just like really nice to up the ceiling that we have against back row, and it's just kind of like a perfect fit with the two Cosmic Cyclones, so I'm really enjoying the one Harpies. I'm on 3 Allure. I feel like this is just stupidly standard. They're probably going to ban this card. It's really good and enables just so much of the deck's stupid plays. Next up for some of the spell starters outside of the other two that we played. Branded Opening and Branded Fusion. Of course, we're playing these at 3. Kind of can't play them at anything else. Function's really good. I wouldn't play the Branded Opening at like 2. I know that some people are, but I wouldn't. I know it's a high cost, but like we have so many supplements for it, so don't forget about the Branded Openings Graveyard effect either, and both of those are once per turns as well. I've got 3 Super Poly in the main. I mean, I'm like really back and forth whether Anti-Spell or Super Poly is better in the main, but like it's a problem that's bugging me a lot. I really don't know which one. Super Poly feels better, but Anti-Spell like is probably better. Super Poly just has more synergy with our deck, but like we can still use our Super Poly targets with our main deck. Next up, we've got the trap cards. We've got Branded Expulsion, Branded Banishment, and Branded Retribution. I'm going to go and read Branded Expulsion because I'm sure that this is a new card. Not everybody has read it. Tribute a fusion monster. Then target 2 non-fusions that are banished and or in either grave. Special summon both. 1 on each field. If you tributed a fusion that mentions Fallen Valbaz's material, you can special summon both to your field. So, pretty much what you're doing with the Branded Expulsion is you're summoning the Edo to your opponent's field, and then you're summoning the Alibur to your field, and then you're getting Nuts advantage through that, and it's just kind of really hard for your opponent to play through the Expulsion, and then even then, you can do stuff like summon both monsters, because you're usually tributing a Mirror Jade with the Expulsion. You can do stuff like tribute off the Mirror Jade, special summon it back with the Banishment, and also, at the same time, special summon out 2 monsters, and then with the Banishment, you're gonna be, like, doing really, really crazy stuff with it. Like, if you let Expulsion resolve and then you activate Banishment, it's kind of better, in my opinion, to do it that way, because it's just, like, it's really, really hard for your opponent to, like, kind of guess what you're doing, I guess. If they let this resolve, you're probably gonna win. If they let this resolve after this, without, like, you having to chain this to the Expulsion, then, like, that's really good. I kind of vary whether I chain them or not. It's sort of a mix-up for me. I like bluffing my face downs a lot, and I like activating the Expulsion, not chaining anything, and then being like, oh, like, oof, they don't have the Banishment set, and then I'm just like, oh yeah, no, I totally have the Banishment set, dog. Like, what are you talking about? And then, you know, the banishment ruins their day because it gets me 2 uses of my Mirror Jade if I didn't have to use my Mirror Jade to get into both of these. So if I can extend into both of these, it's really, really powerful. We're getting a lot of advantage through it, and we still have access to, like, some of our best advantage pushing combos. So, pretty much most everything that needs to be said about the trap cards. Retribution, we're not setting it very often, but it does come up. We're sending it or discarding it more often than not. It's just so strong, recycling its effect, and then we can recycle it with the Merc, with the kit, so Retribution is just really, really awesome in the deck. Alright, so that is going to do it for the main. Going on into the extra deck. I'm on 2 Mirror Jade, 1 Chimera, and 2 Lubellion. I really feel like this ratio is really nice. 2 Lubellions kind of there for like the imperms and things of the such. Really targeted negations hurt this deck a lot. Especially if they stop you at the Lubellion, your combo just doesn't really work. It doesn't really go off, as well as it really ruins your grind game. So keep wary of that kind of disruption, but that's why we're playing the 2 Lubellion. I had a build where I was cutting this for a Quertus, but I'm doing that no longer. I'm playing the 1 Guardian Chimera. We don't really need any more than 1, especially with the Edo combo in the deck. There's just, like, no need to play 2 Guardian Chimera. It's just, like, flexing on our opponent at that point, and, like, I already feel bad enough for playing the Edo. The Guardian Chimera is, like, just a little bit too much for me. I'm on 2 Draco Stapelia. This card's been nuts, actually. I've actually found so much use going to this card with Ad Libdom and Brandon in red. It gets you 3 counters on board. I mean, that's like nothing to scoff at. That's basically 3 monster negates, and they can like link it off or do stuff with it. But like, remember, you probably have an Edo somewhere around, and you can probably like get these around and doing stuff, and then get your Edo back, and then it's just like, okay, what are they gonna do? They're not gonna do anything, you know. So 2 Draco Stapelia has been really nuts. Moving on, I've got 3 Albion. 3 Albion's been crazy. I honestly can't imagine playing this deck without 3 Albion anymore. Like, I've been summoning it and just, like, sending it and doing it. Like, this deck has utilized this card so well. It's not often that, like, a card this good gets printed, but, like, this is a very, very good card. I can't wait for, like, better rereads of it. Moving on, some of our one-ofs. We'll just go ahead and slap them down there. I'm on 1 Masquerade, 1 Brigand, and 1 Quertus. Man, you really don't need to be playing 2 Masquerade. I don't know. People are coping when they're playing 2 Masquerade. Your Ad Libdom with the Expulsion is, like, super recyclable. So, like, playing 2 Masquerade just makes no sense when not only does it recycle itself, you have so many ways to recycle it. So it's just, like, I don't feel like I need to play it at 2. No reason. The Brigand is mostly being sent off of the Mirror Jade to get us the Merc to our field. Other than that, it's kind of like a discount Mud Dragon and works in that way. The Despia Quertus is really good at helping us push for damage. I'm summoning it more and more, and it's actually like a really good tool in junction with the Ad Lib. So, bonk. Then we've got some super polymerization targets. I'm on the Garura and the Mud Dragon. Man, these targets are actually bonkers. I mean, they're just crazy. There's no other like way to describe it. Like, I can hit with Super Poly pretty much any deck, and that just hasn't been a thing to happen ever. And now we have these 2 cards existing at the same time, and it's just like, I feel really bad that we can play them both at the same time. Garura's effect is also just kind of nuts. Being 3k damage is a little kooky. Just, like, being able to swing at a clear board, which, like, you're usually summoning this off of Super Poly. So, like, it just kind of enables good damage like Venom never enabled. And it also has that effect where if it's sent to the graveyard, you draw a card, which is just nuts. It's that, I don't need to say anything else. That's just nuts. You're drawing cards, like, crazy. And then the Mud Dragon also messes with some attribute stuff, and many things are just kind of like doing that nowadays. So like, think of like how a Mud Dragon targets our deck. I mean, it kind of ruins us. So I'm really enjoying the Mud Dragon. I'm really enjoying just both of these. Both of these are nuts. And the Mud Dragon is just, like, one of my favorite cards. And I remember playing Mud Dragon way back in, like, jeez, like, Grind Maju. Being like, oh my gosh, like, this card's so crazy. Nagarura exists. Over in the side, I'm on a lot of Floodgates. I'm honestly playing, like, maybe too many going first cards, but I'm really enjoying them. So, I'm not going to stop playing them. I'm on 3 Mind Drain. This card is... Okay, this card is cracked. I don't know why people aren't playing this card more often. Pay 1,000. Hand traps don't exist in the game, and also many monster effects that activate. Like that's crazy. It's nuts. And it doesn't have any like maintenance cost or anything. The Zombie World is also really good. In conjunction with the Mud Dragon. Mud Dragon Zombie World is actually like a pretty crazy floodgate. You'd be surprised. So, moving on. Some going first floodgates. I'm on Anti-Spell. Anti-Spell is nuts in this deck. We're able to play under it so well, because honestly, like, a lot of our boards are ending in trap cards anyway, and ending in, like, set quick play spell cards that we're trying to, like, interact with our opponent on their turn. So, Anti-Spell is just kind of nuts. It forces our opponent to play at our pace, and if they can't, then we win. Moving on, some going second cards and just other options. I'm on Ghost Ogre, Red Reboot, and Night Beam. Red Reboot and Night Beam are like my floodgate answers, as well as kind of like Ghost Ogre is too. Night Beam does really good against stuff like a Dimensional Barrier and like Floodgate. Same with Red Reboot. Like, Ghost Ogre is one of those cards where you know how to use it, it's really, really crazy. But, like, if you don't know how to use it, like, if you don't know the interaction points where it just stops, it's not very good. So, Ghost Ogre is a really knowledge pick. I haven't really, like, I don't feel like I've utilized it fully to its full potential, but it'll be a matter of time when I am, and I know that this card is, like, crazy. I mean, like, you stop a Hulk, there's nothing they can do. You hit, what would it be? The giant Spriggan, the giant sprite, I think it's the giant sprite. You hit the giant sprite with this and they're done. A lot of really good cards. Night Beam's also really good against decks that like are setting 1 or 2 back row inherently, just through their engine. Like they're searching a 1 of back row in their deck, and so Night Beams are really, really good against those kinds of cards. Same with Red Reboot. So very, very meta Kali type picks. You could be playing Token Collector in place of the Ghost Ogres. Ghost Ogre's just, like, better than Token Collector. Every card that Token Collector hits, Ghost Ogre also hits. Well, not every card, but most of the cards. So, like, I just don't see the point, personally. Alright. That is going to do it for the deck profile. Thank you so much for stopping by. Be sure to hit me up in the comments if you have any questions, comments, or anything that you think that I'm doing wrong or really bad. I'm really enjoying playing this deck. Personally, it's had a lot of, like, hang-ups in, like, some instances the bricks are, like, really hard to play through, but I feel like the deck's hands every other moment are just like crazy high power levels, super consistency, where I'm setting up like the Ito combo and a Mirror Jade and just like all of this crazy stuff that shouldn't exist at the same time. So thank you so much. Bye bye.